Hello, my name is Casey Bernstein and I'm here at my studio, the Center for Nia and Yoga, located in Albany, New York. And I would like to share with you some information about my workshop series called The Art of Stepping In. I have been a Nia teacher for approximately 32 years. I've been a Nia trainer since 1997, and I have been a Moving to Heal trainer for a number of years. And I also worked as a nurse before I became involved with my life journey of being a Nia teacher and a Nia teacher trainer. Right from the beginning, when I started working and sharing Nia, I also started bringing Nia to special populations. I started working with women in a domestic violence shelter. I started working with women in drug rehab at a facility right across the street from my first studio. I've worked with Alzheimer's. I've gone into homeless shelters. I have worked with traumatic brain injury, and I've always enjoyed learning from those situations, and they made me a better Nia teacher all along the way about how to craft, how to be client-centric, how to meet the needs of a particular population. And so I would like to share some of this information in my way of looking at a particular population and how to craft with it. Now, I do want to tell you that if you have done a Moving to Heal training, this becomes a wonderful adjunct to mentoring for that. If you are interested in doing a Moving to Heal training, this is some wonderful information. And if you are a Nia teacher, you're more than welcome to do this, and it may encourage you to go deeper and do a Moving to Heal training in the future. And at the very least, it will create some inspiration and enthusiasm and creativity for, again, working with anybody to bring the joy of movement. When I worked as a nurse way back when, and we needed to write care plans to take care of a particular patient, we would use this word looking at the patient's assets, what do they bring to the situation, and then something called their liabilities, what was in the way for them to heal. And I'm going to use the word perceived liability, because this perceived liability actually becomes what can stimulate creativity within the class crafting. Let me give you an example of that. When somebody, it may be perceived, if somebody is hearing impaired, that may be perceived as a liability. However, when somebody has a hearing disability, then that means usually their visual acuity is very strong. And so I would want to emphasize that when I was teaching my class, and how I transmit the class through my body to create a somatic experience for that particular individual. Another example would be perceived liability, is that when I went into an Alzheimer's facility, of course, there is memory loss, and there's in particular short-term memory loss, but a lot of times they retain long-term memory loss. So if they have short-term memory loss, then sometimes I would I always did this. I repeated songs in my particular playlist to engage them. They didn't mind if I repeated songs. Their memory was short-term, it didn't matter, they were very much in the moment. And then if I used their long-term memory, I could access different storytelling or memories that would also increase hand movements and storytelling and singing along with the experience. So I wanted to share that with you. So that's an example about how we'll look at it. I will give you an overview of a particular population. And again, I would always be looking at balancing the class so that I can look at what will engage them. An example that I would use the arc of this would be when I work with women in drug rehab. We would have something that the class would seem too, if there's a self-esteem issue going on, sometimes the class would seem too boring, or the class would be overstimulating. So that also led to a disengagement. So the point of this is to walk that path, that swiggle line of the right amount of stimulation so that it feels safe and engaging and fun, as we know that through movement we find health, the tenet of Nia, and yet if a person is not moving, then in fact they're not healing. So that is the foundation of my workshop. It will start on January 10th. It's offered one time a month. It's not, and in April there will be 2 sessions in April, just to let you know about that. And then we'll also, I'll also be hosting the wonderful guest Nia teacher, Britta von Tagen, and she will be providing information about crafting classes for children. So I'm very excited about that. The cost of the entire 5 session series is $175. That is $35 a session all put together, and people can do an a la carte session, and that would be $45 a piece, and of course there would be access to that recorded session if you happen to miss one in the series. So I hope you can join me. You can find information about this series by going to my website, caseybernstein.com, and you can click on the Taos, The Art of Stepping In. That's TAOS, and the word in there too. To click on that link to find the information about the series and registering. And you can always email at me at caseybernstein1.com for additional information. So I'm really excited about this, again, to provide mentoring, enthusiasm, and additional ideas about how to share Nia under certain circumstances. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope I hear from you.